Hello, folks. So, in this video, I wanted to talk about how people do two kinds of things. One is they provide services, another is they provide products. So, when you provide a product, you have to see the validity of the product and the longevity of the product, right? Let's say the product is a hair dryer, right? So the hair dryer, you can buy it, you need to maintain it, or it can be a car, right? You need to buy it, you need to maintain it, and then you can drive it for however long you want. The maintenance will cost a bit. Let's say maintenance would be something as simple as just doing service, basic service, regular service, versus maybe getting some fixes done, repairing done because there was some issue in the car and all. Same for something like a hair dryer. Versus now, what if you get a service where the car is given to you? Like, for example, where you rent a car, or where you actually rent a car with a driver, so you just don't even have to drive. You just use the car for some time and then give it back. Now, they use the product to provide a service to you. Same for going to a salon or spa, where they use the hair dryer and they own the product. You're just renting it for some time, so you give them money to dry up your hair, wet hair. So they blow the hair dryer on your hair, and it dries up your hair, and then they're done. You don't own the product, you just get the service done. Now, the interesting thing about service is this, right? Let's say I go in a car, I use an Uber and I go in a car, and it's a cab basically now. So I go in a cab. Let's say I have to go some 5 miles, and let's say it's taking a lot of time for me to go those 5 miles, and it's a problem for me and for the driver who's actually driving, because it's taking a lot of time for them, and hence they'll probably get less rides. They'll probably get less time for the remaining rides. Unlike if they had gone faster, and if they were able to go faster, then they'll have more time, which would usually directly mean more rides, right? So quick rides, mini rides is what most drivers will aim for and will want, right? So they'll want to be efficient, but let's say there's a lot of traffic, or there is some issue causing you to go in a route which is longer, or the traffic is causing you to go slowly, and hence there's a lot of time taken. Now, for you as a person, it's a problem, and for the driver also, it's a problem, because they can't drive much if they spend all the time in this 5 mile ride. And for you, it's just late, you're just late. So, but you still have to pay for that ride. You still have to pay to the driver for their time, because the driver was always in the cab, unless it was a auto driving cab, automatically driven car, self-driving car. So if there was a driver, they were spending time to get you from point A to point B, and you need to pay them, and you also need to pay for the fuel, and you also need to pay for renting the car, or basically renting the car for some time, right? So that you can go from point A to point B. And surely, like I said, you need to pay for the driver's time. Now, 5 mile was the distance, you need to pay some amount of money. Let's say it was a quick ride, you probably would have paid less. But since the ride took a lot of time, you have to pay more, even though you're unhappy, right? You're unhappy with the outcomes and the results because it took a lot of time, and maybe the driver was not having a good attitude or a great attitude. Maybe they were actually pissed that it's taking a lot of time, and maybe blamed you, or they were just not being a great driver. So their attitude was not great. So now what happens is you still have to pay them because you got the service done. No matter the outcomes of the service, no matter the results of the service, no matter how the service made you feel, you still have to pay for it. if you think about this, this is a very annoying situation, and businesses that do this kind of work easily get away with it because they can just be like, see, no matter how bad you feel about the work that was done, you still have to pay for the work because the work was done, and and the work is already done, right? And you need to pay for the work. The driver spent a lot of time. The driver spent fuel, and the driver rented out the car to you for this much time, and driver's time, a lot of time of the driver was spent on this. So basically, driver's time and energy, and also the car, and also the fuel. You have to pay for all of it, even though you are actually not satisfied. Uh, even if you're like, no, I hate this, I don't want to pay for this, you have to pay for it. Similar to this is the idea where, same for hair blower, hair dryer, where they use a hair dryer on your hair, but you're not happy. You feel like it's not dried up properly, or it's dried up but it's not great, or it made your hair fall and all that. Regardless, you still have to pay for the service because it's already done, regardless of the outcomes, right? It's a sad thing, because or else the business actually loses money if you don't pay for it, right? Some businesses might actually say that, okay, so if you're not happy with the service, then you don't have to pay, or you can pay less, or we'll refund the money back to you and all that if you have already paid. So you can see similar things happening in other kinds of services and products. For example, let's say you use AI, right? You use AI to do something, but you're not happy with the results because you it took a lot of time for you to get the results, or you didn't get great results. But the AI did the work. It spent a lot of time and energy. Like, for example, it used GPUs, CPUs, whatever, right? It used compute uh, to get work done. So regardless of how the output looks like and how satisfied you are, the work was done, and you need to pay for it, right? So um, even though it was sloppy work or bad, or dumb work or whatever, or the AI was not doing great, you still have to pay for it because it just used up some compute power, and which would mean GPU, and then CPU, and then also memory, RAM, and then disk, network, and also power, because electricity is required to run things. So, and maintenance and all that, because if it's usually running in a data center, and data center requires maintenance and all that. So all of it put together, you need to pay some money for it. So regardless of how you feel about the output, the outcome, the results of the AI's work, you still have to pay for it. So yeah, I mean, you might be like, hey, I had to actually spend so much time to get the AI to get this thing done, but I still have to pay a lot of money because a lot of the work it did, I was not happy with it. Okay, and this you can see even in, I don't know, day-to-day life. Even when you have an employer and an employee, the employee can get work done slowly, but the employer still has to pay for the employee because, well, uh, they were in the company and they were trying to get work done, but it was slow. The best thing the employer can do is maybe fire the employee because they're being slow, and it's not being efficient, so they have to get rid of the employee. So yeah, I mean, that would be the ideal thing for the employer, because or else they'll just be wasting money on the employee, right? So other examples would be, my partner, for example, recently got a sari, a material for sari, and she basically paid 500 for it. But for stitching the blouse, one of the parts of a sari that you wear, like basically to make that part, she had to pay 800 bucks, basically more than the what the whole material costed. It was a service, so they have to pay for it. So yeah, tricky stuff. Just a moment.